Welcome to Beer Untapped with Perry Miller, the podcast. I'm joined by Seth.
Hey, welcome, guys. Thanks for finding us on the internet.
Now, these shows originally aired on Brookings Radio, but now they're all here for your enjoyment. I hope you like it.
There you go. Sit back, enjoy the show, relax. Let us know if you want to see anything on future shows. As we said, this comes out live in the Brookings area, but enjoy this archive episode.
Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. Welcome to Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. Beers developed in Germany have taken over the world when it comes to beer consumption, but Germany has more to offer than just pale lagers. From hazy and yeasty wheat beers to big, bold, and dark Doppelbocks, there's a wider range of German beers than you may have thought.
There's actually a variety of styles that the Germans make. Traditionally, they're lagers, which is the one big distinction between their British counterparts. Lager means to store. Oftentimes, when they made the lagers, they stored them in caves, nice and cold, away from temperature fluctuations. Lagers usually take longer, and that actually lends to some cleaning up of the beer, some absence of some of those other yeast flavors.
And according to Seth Cook from Wooden Legs Brewing of Brookings, that often leads to a crisp, refreshing, easy drinking beer. There's a German purity law that has a lot to do with it.
Reinheitsgebot is a law that was passed in Bavaria that was, I think it was 1516. It was one of the first consumer protection laws. The Germans actually said, in the Bavaria, they actually said, this is what a beer is made out of. It's made out of water, hops, and barley, and nothing more. They did later amend it to include yeast once that was understood. If you see on a beer label as you pick up a German beer, it will say, brewed by Reinheitsgebot.
That purity law has kind of hampered the development of an American-style craft beer movement in Germany. Fortunately, just a few years after the passage of that purity law, Bavarian dukes granted their brewers the right to use wheat.
The wheat beers or Wiesen beers. People make the adventure from the lagers, the clear, the crisp lagers, and the wheat beers come next usually, and they're usually hazy and cloudy and have tastes of cloves and bananas. That's a really good transition if you've tried the lagers and enjoy that. The wheat beers open up a whole new realm. I like the Hefeweizens. The Wiesenbach is another one that's it's a darker in color, stronger in strength wheat beer. So the Wiesenbach is one of my favorites.
Sully Sullivan at Pints and Quarts says a German wheat beer style gaining in popularity here in the U.S. these days. The somewhat tart Berliner Weiss.
One of my absolute favorite styles of beer is a true Berliner Weiss. Historically, it's supposed to be a 2 to 2.5% alcohol beer, which you can drink all day long while you're fishing. Fantastic beers. I mean, if you like wheat beers or sours, I mean, these are great beers.
And of course, the descendant of one German style has become the dominant beer on the planet.
If you look at the any of the beers that are going to be advertised during the Super Bowl, they all come from one great granddad, and that is the Pilsner style. Beer in America, when we had pushed ourselves away from the English style ales, and the Pilsners became to be prolific. That is what defined American beer for a long time.
The early days of American brewing dominated by German immigrants and their descendants. That legacy, a modified Pilsner often brewed with corn or rice and called the American adjunct lager, is now brewed all over the world.
All over the world, from China to Brazil to Europe and Australia. I mean, it is big.
More when Beer Untapped continues in a moment.
Roll out the barrel, we'll have a barrel of fun.
Welcome back to Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. Here in part 2, we're going to tell you about a couple of upcoming events. But first, let's check in with Drew Eklund, our beer guide at Brookings Liquor Store. He says they have some great German beers, including one of the world's great brewers, Weihenstephan.
Founded in 740 as a Benedictine monastery, it wasn't until the year 1040 that they started brewing. Their wheat beers are by far their most popular and their highest rated. Beer Advocate gives the Hefeweiss beer and the original premium a perfect 100 score. They also carry a Crystal Weiss beer. It's a filtered wheat, so it gives it a little softer feeling on the palate. Besides the wheat beers, we have Corbinian. It's a Doppelbock, which is a heavier, sweeter, rich flavor.
And they have many other great German beers at Brookings Liquor Store. Stop by, take a look. Let's check in with Sully for the Mike Tap Handle Beer of the Week at Pints and Quarts.
New Belgium Slow Ride IPA, 4.5% alcohol, 40 IBUs, light, easy drinking. Just absolutely crystal clear gold color with just a perfect pearl white head on it. It's a really good beer, and you can have a few of them and wash down a cheeseburger and fries, and have a few more and still do okay.
And we need to take a look at a couple of events coming up. A special one Saturday evening at Wooden Legs in Brookings as they welcome a new brewer to South Dakota.
Zipline is out of Nebraska. They're actually one of my favorite Nebraskan brewing companies. Zipline will be here on the 31st. We're going to have a host of their beers. We're going to have one of their beers on cask. We're going to have 3 different live musical acts. Joe's got Runzas planned, so if you guys have ever been down to Lincoln and had a Runza, that we're going to get those as to eat. It's basically a baked sandwich. Think about taking all of the goodness of a sandwich and baking it inside.
He says Zipline does some great beers.
They have great beers. They have an oatmeal porter that is over the top. They've got just a number of beers that are just technically sound and just wonderful. And their brewer and their owners are going to be here.
Global Distributing is bringing Zipline to South Dakota. Global's Nate Holbeck says Zipline's only been around a couple of years, but they're doing some fabulous stuff.
Their oatmeal porter, their New Zealand hopped IPA, and their Copper Alt. They'll also have a 4-pack available, which is their dry hopped black IPA. And they'll also have available, which is one of the best beers I've ever had, and was the reason why I ended up calling them and begging them to please distribute up here, is their Mosaic hopped Belgian triple, which will be draft only.
And finally today, don't forget the Beer Untapped Wooden Leg Super Bowl party this coming Sunday. This fundraiser for Frankie McDowell is going to be fabulous.
We're going to be putting our beers on tap here at the pub, but we're also partnering with the radio station to put on a Super Bowl party. We're putting on a full-on official party. We're going to do some tailgating beforehand. We're going to then at the game or right before the game, we're having a chili cook-off. Really hoping to bring people together in a sense of community here for a really good cause.
That chili competition will feature folks from Brookings Radio as well as Mayor Tim Reed, Police Chief Jeff Miller, Fire Chief Daryl Hartman, and others. There's going to be a huge silent auction with beer-related and many other items, lots more. Don't miss this party and fundraiser. All proceeds go to the Frankie McDowell Kidney Transplant Fund. Super Bowl Sunday, doors open at 1 p.m. at Wooden Legs. Chili tasting starts at 3, and you get to be the judge. Remember, drink local and drink responsibly. Thank you for listening to this archived edition of Beer Untapped with Perry Miller. Feel free to listen to other episodes, and if there's anything you'd like us to talk about on a future show, please let us know. Thanks again.